Thanks, Emma. Thanks for your patience. I had lessons back to back for a while today, so I'm like switching back and forth. Alrighty, so how is your voice feeling and how is your practice going this week? I loved your recordings. I hope you got my notes. Did you feel like did you go back and watch the videos? Like, did you feel like you agreed with the ones that I picked or?
Um, yeah, I think it was fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you were good with those. It's always hard because you'll be like, oh, okay, this section sounds really good, but then you'll be like, oh, this section's better than that one, and but I think I picked the ones that I was like, okay, I think I listened to them a few different times, and I was like, I think so. I think these are the ones. But it's always a little tricky because you might do one section like especially well one time through, and then the next time your breath will get a wonky there, and then it'll be like these high notes are glorious, and so you have to find the one that you're like, all right, this is the one that I'm gonna pick. But I thought that they all had good improvement to them, and some of them are so close, that it's like, which one, because they're about equal. So but yeah, I think that you did some really beautiful work on those. And then we had picked out our new pieces, so I was curious, with starting to work on those, anything you maybe were noticing with your practice?
Um, I think it was also fine.
Okay, yeah. I'm curious with working on the newer pieces. What did you focus on primarily this week? Did you have like one that you kind of focused on more than the others, or anything that kind of was a challenge to you that you noticed, like, oh, this is a little bit tricky?
I think mainly I just tried to like learn like just become more familiar with that. I guess. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we just picked them out, so that makes sense. So a little more listening this week, learning the melodies, learning the rhythms, getting the feel for them. I think we picked some really good variety as far as time periods and languages and musical style. You're going to find that for the different eras there and also the different countries, they'll have certain characteristics to the music, which I think is great. Like Sean was working earlier today on more of a romantic French piece. And he was like, oh, like this harmony here is really surprising and kind of throws me off every time I hit this one spot in the song. And it like, he was like, it just sounds funky to me because he had been focusing before that on a classical piece. So it was very dissonant sounding in that moment, but then it has this beautiful resolution. And I was like, yeah, that's like a very common thing you're going to find in this romantic era and in this French style and whatnot. So the contrast um, between the two was like a little bit strange to his musical ear. He was like, "Oh, I keep messing up that spot because of it." So you're gonna find those kind of things where you go, oh, this is a very different sound. So, like when you have Baroque era, classical era, romantic era, 20th century, when you've got different countries that the music originated from, they'll have different sounds that are incorporated. Like even, a Chopin Polonaise sounds pretty different than a Chopin Nocturne because the Polonaises have more of the sounds of like his Polish heritage country. And then the nocturnes are very like romantic. They're gonna have this like stretching and pushing and pulling kind of a feel. Like so they'll have different like harmonic textures or rhythmic flows to them, so you'll find different things like that, which I think I'm really excited for you get to explore. So yeah, so hopefully with doing some listening and studying the music this week, you had a fun time getting used to hearing all those different things. So I was excited for you to have the new pieces. I thought that was pretty fun and exciting. So I'm curious, did you get to sing today already, or are we just getting started now?
Just getting started.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and get your voice opened up, stretched, and vibrating and in a good space for our pieces. And then, did you have one you wanted to start with first today?
Um, Probably Bati.
Batti batti. Okay, so we're going to do our Italian. Love it. Which we had worked on just a teensy tiny bit months ago, and then now we'll start it up again. But yeah, it's batti batti. I would say it's a really good one to work on um, in your like younger developmental years because it's not too heavy, but you have to have really, really good technique to do it well. So it kind of forces you to develop excellent vocal technique. So I think it's a great one to be working on because it's gonna those Mozart pieces really just we've got to get our technique solid on those, like perfected. So, all right. So these are all going to be a little bit higher. So in the classical world, I think that's pretty normal. We tend to utilize the head voice more. Um, so um, we're gonna start with a nice slide here to kind of get everything flowing and opened up. Let's do this on. Think a very light coo, like doves cooing. Go coo, coo, coo.
Coo, 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 coo.
Lovely, lovely. All right, so let's go ahead and try. Let's go coo, coo, coo. One, two, ready, go. Coo, 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 coo. All right, so now at this point, we're going to start being a little taller. So think more coo to caw, back to coo. All right, breathing in. Okay, so then let's do on a scale now. Let's go on E, A, Ah, A, E. All right, so it's going to be E. One, two, ready, and all right, excellent. Let's do on so we'll go up and then down and finish. So all right, one, two, ready, and all right, so let's try to keep the breath support even as we get lower. Try that same one again. Excellent. Very good. Okay. So I know you mentioned Bati Bati. Did you have a chance to sing through it this week?
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah, so would it be okay if I have you sing through it one time first and I'll listen to where it's at? Since we did work on it a little bit prior and you did practice it a little bit this week. So I'd love to hear where it's at and then I can give you some feedback, okay? And we can kind of decide what to do from there.
Eh,
Yep, alrighty.
Batti, batti, oh bel masetto, la tua povera Rosalina, sarò chi come lì, e le tue pote aspettar. Pote, pote, la tua Selena starò qui, e le tue pote aspettar. Les trovato credi, Lazzaro cava gli occhi e le corridori e le tapo sopra Batti, batti, oh bel masetto, la tua povera Selina saprò chi come lì, e le tue pote aspettar. Oh bel masetto, Patti, Patti, starò qui, e le tue pote aspettar. Avendo l'ora corri, l'ora corri, la vedo, la corri. Pace, pace, vita mia, pace, pace, vita mia, io odiando, degrado, lo devo, io Pace, pace, vida mia, pace, pace, vida mia, e niente alegria te vogliamo. Sì, 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 noi vogliamo passare. Sì, 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 noi vogliamo passare. Vogliamo, vogliamo passare, vogliamo, vogliamo passare.
Okay. Excellent. So, I think for, our first time diving back into it, there are a lot of good things, but we also have things that we need to work on and polish up. So, what was maybe the number one thing that you thought I did pretty well with that?
Um,
Or
I
what was the
think
most fun thing about it? Like the thing that felt the best, that felt the strongest, that was the most fun?
it was just like I think honestly, like from singing the other songs like Poor Day Trusty and like getting like the strength from that, I think that definitely helped because it's like
Ah.
I guess less fatiguing without doing it too much.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, so you felt like having worked on the other piece, you go, oh, I can utilize a lot of the same techniques that I used there in this piece too, which makes it feel easier than when we had done it prior, right?
Yeah.
That is awesome to hear. I love to hear when students are carrying over their technique from piece to piece. Um, With that in mind, though, did you feel like there was anything like muscle memory fighting you at all? Or did you feel like you were able to really like dive in and be like, okay, and in spite of having worked on it prior, like, you know, was there anything like old habits that were kind of sticking and you had to kind of like fight through them to get the new technique working?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. So that's good to hear. We didn't work on this one a lot prior. So, I think that probably it was okay because we didn't work on it enough to really lock it into the muscle memory and make those like bad habits, right? Which I think is great. Um, so that is a positive thing, right?
Yeah.
So good stuff. Then let's go ahead and take a look at, let's go ahead and try, you know what? Let's go ahead and start right at the beginning here. Um, and work through some of this together. I do think the Pache Pache section, I do think that's the more challenging section, and
Yeah.
here is why. We have to utilize our quick release breaths or our catch breaths all throughout. And there's not a lot of room to breathe, right? And so there are these long flowing phrases, but then we kind of struggle. We're like, whew, I don't have any time to take my breaths, right? And so sneaking in those breaths and keeping it very clean, the clean articulation is a challenge and something that we have to work on. So we definitely can work on that. But I think starting right from the top, I think is a good place to start. So let's go ahead and dive in here together with our bhakti bhakti. Um, I'm gonna pull up the sheet music so I can play along with you. So I'm curious, are you interested in learning the recitative that happens prior to the aria starting as well? Because I think that would be another thing that'll kind of like level it up a little bit. The recitative is where the action takes place in operas. It's like the storytelling parts. So it's kind of like in a musical, the spoken talking sections. It's a little more like that. And then the aria is more of like a big emotion that you just express for, 3 to 5 minutes. Um, and so it's just a little bit of a different feel. So I was wondering if you were interested in learning the recitative. And in your listening, did you find the recitative? Did you get to hear some of in some of the recordings, did they have the recitative when you were listening through the part that's a little more like emphatic and speech-like, even though it is sung?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I think that would be an additional good challenge, but maybe for today we just start with the main refrain, that part that everybody recognizes. So maybe this week try looking up the recitative for Bhakti Bhakti. It comes just prior to this song beginning. Um, so if we look here at this piece, you can see this is the recitative part. So it's, written out musically, but when you sing it, it's going to be it's going to be a little more speech-like. Oh, sorry. I played in the upper octave. So it can be sung like one of the early kind of mistakes that people do is they make it where it's like very sung, like sing-songy kind of feeling like ma si colpa io non ho, ma se da lui rimasi. I don't even know if I started. Yeah, I did on the right note. But we want it to be more like you're talking a little bit more. So this ma si colpa io non ho, ma se da lui ingannata rimasi. E poi che temi tranquilla ti mia vita. So it's more like you're talking to them a little bit more. Um, non ni tocco. Right. So instead of like being really like beautiful ballad kind of a feeling, it's more um and it's like non me lo credi. She's like, you don't believe me? You ungrateful wretch. uh, non me lo credi? Ingrato. Like a lot of people don't even like really sing that part. They're like, you ingrate, you know? So it's a lot more speech like, but it's also very dramatic and you get to act more. So I think it's a good thing to learn to do. But it might be something that we kind of add on if we end up having time before the competition, because it would be very impressive to the judges if you conquer the recitative, because a lot of people won't. Um, so it would be kind of like a next step. All right, so let's go start at the main refrain, which is going to start at this batti, batti, oh belle. All right, so we're going to start here instead. All right, so I want you to let's start instead of on the words, let's start with just say sustaining. So we're going to go say. And you're going to hold the say out through the phrase, and then you'll take a breath, and then you'll add the S again. So we're going to hold the A the whole time. And I want spin on every single note. So vibrato, consistent, and flowing. All right. One, two, here we go.
See.
Three. Do just that. Le tue bote ad aspettar. That last one again. We need to refocus as we come back down. It was a little too open and tall as we came down to the lower notes. So we have that le tue bote ad aspettar. As you come down, you're gonna narrow the mouth shape, yeah? But you're taller at the top. Yeah, breathing in, say again. Yeah, so we try to keep that clarity on the way down. That was better that time. Good. All right, so let's just actually do up to that point first. Okay, so we're going to focus just here for now. I'm actually going to move you to my other side and keep the music on my right side. Okay, I just resituated a tiny bit. All right, just so I can see you and the music a little better. Okay. All right, so let's try. We're gonna go through on just the vowels of the words now. So instead of bati bati, I'm gonna say ah ya yo e o ah wa o e ya. So think of it as kind of like a little brain and tongue twister here, and just singing through on those vowels, keeping it very legato. One, two, here we go.